Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Transformation Tuesday, October 4th, and we are now in a new month, which is my birthday month, Libra Scorpio season, and my birthday is on the 31st, Halloween, so I'm super excited about that. I'm glad to be back. Welcome to Style by Stevie. So, our very special guest today is an actor, singer, and multi instrumentalist. He was born and raised in Inglewood, of South Side of Chicago, and I'm super excited to have him here in the Dollhouse. Now, you might have seen him on shows such as Chicago Justice, Chicago Fire, and so many others, just to name a few. Ladies and gentlemen, our very special guest, Mr. Brian Keys. Let me go ahead and send this live to him so that we can get this thing juking, ladies and gentlemen. And not only that, but it is Paris Fashion Week. So, we're going to dive right into this interview as soon as our guest gets here. So without further ado, make sure you guys share the live and head on over and subscribe to Style by Stevie Daytime right now, Fashion Dolls. I'm super excited about our guest today. Joining me tomorrow, we have actor and model and artist Henry Robinson. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Shout outs to the Glam for making sure that we are right. Shout out to makeup artist Melanie Nalamai Bridges for getting your girl right. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our next special guest, Mr. Brian Keys. Hello, hello.
What's up? What's up?
Welcome to the
I am
Dollhouse.
here.
How are you?
I'm great. Yo, appreciate you for having me. Like we've been waiting for this one.
Yes, long overdue.
I
So
know
what?
we've been like what 2 months out. We put this on the books like what
Yes,
2 months? Yeah,
yes. This has been in the
yeah,
making for some time.
yeah.
My goodness, it's
I'm
so
here. I'm
great to
with you.
have
I'm with
you.
you.
So before we get into this interview, how's your 2022 been so far? We are almost out going into the new year.
Look, I don't even know where it went. Anytime anybody asks me that, I'll be like, "It's good." You know, life be lifing. I'm here. You know, so I ain't got no complaints. No complaints at all.
Okay, okay. So let's dive right into it. Let's dive
Let's
right
get it.
into it. Let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the way before the world got introduced to Brian Keys. So you were
Yeah.
born in the South Side of Chicago, am I
South
correct?
Side. Yeah, born and raised Inglewood, South
Okay,
Side,
got it.
Chicago through and through. Yeah.
How
Yeah,
many
it's
brothers
crazy.
and sisters?
I got an older sister. Shout out to my sister Serena. She's a amazing older sister to have. We're 18 months apart, and her, you know how older sisters are. Her being an older sister, and you know all the name calling, bullying, whatever. It shaped me. It shaped me to be the man I am. So like, I love my sister. I love my sister. Man, I gotta give a shout out to Kendra Chapman in the chat. I see her real quick. You know, what's up? What's up, all my people? Yeah, let's go. We here.
Yes, it's finally happened. And this has been in the work for some time, as Brian mentioned in the beginning, and I was introducing him. We have definitely had this plan, and I'm so excited to have you here. It's such an honor. Kicking off the new year.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So tell us what made you get your start into acting? What made you say, I've got to do the acting book?
You know, what's interesting about it is something that I never ever wanted to do. Like in any time, like growing up as a kid, like if you would have asked me myself, you were like, what do you want to do? I would have told you I'm gonna be Michael Jackson. That was my answer. Um, and then, you know, my mom was like, yeah, no, like that's not a thing. And so I started lying and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be an architect when I grow up. Couldn't spell it, didn't know
Mhm.
what it was. It just sounded really fancy coming out this little black boy's mouth. So that's what I told everybody I was gonna do. But I always knew I'm gonna be Michael Jackson. I'm gonna be a rock star. You cannot tell me otherwise. So I started actually with music. So I started like poetry and songwriting right around like first grade. Started singing choir. Uh, right around junior high school is when I eased into my musicianship, started teaching myself instruments. So self-taught, piano, drums, bass, guitar. It's a long list of instruments. And yeah, that's what I thought I was going to do. The only thing close to acting that I had did was like, you know, the mandatory like school play stuff. You know, so I did the Wiz. I was a scarecrow, which I'm like, it's Michael Jackson. So of course I'm going to do that. Then I did Rogers and Hammerstein's Cinderella. I was the prince. Don't know how that happened. And then in high school, I did Raisin in the Sun. I was Mr. Linder, which, if you know anything about that play, that's the white dude in the play. So that was fun. Then I did The Colored Museum, which is a phenomenal play that studies and goes through the nuances of existing as a Black human in America, and it tells it in some satirical formats. It's really good, and that was it really. Like in terms of like acting, because my heart, I'm like music, 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 music. That's all I wanted to do was music. I was in the studio, I was singing, got with a singing group, still was playing in church. I toured as a professional musician, and yeah, and right around 20. I'm fast forwarding a lot because it's a long story, but right around 2014, 2013, 2014, things just started to feel different with music because I was performing a lot and I was getting exhausted and I was getting burned out, and I actually stopped performing as a musician and just stuck with solely songwriting. So I started a publishing company where I was just like songwriting and trying to get placements for other artists. And then I went to Governor, I think it was Governor State, a playwright named Dexter Overall had this play, and they were singing. It was like very almost in the line of like Tyler Perry, in terms of that vibe, in terms of like this is our contribution to the artistic format as Black people. And I was like, oh, that's dope. Like this is a way of singing. And so let me, so I talked to him afterwards. I was like, yo, you need a singer? Like, hit me up. I got you. And he was like, yeah, okay. Like he so dismissal, but it was because I'm like, this is a playwright and he wants actors, and I'm not an actor. I'm just like, I want to sing, and so he had an audition, and it was a play called Real Men Don't Cry, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna sing in this genre, like I'm gonna get it, but there was no singing. Like this character had no singing. I didn't know that. And so I remember wanting to go to the audition, and I hit up my girl Tayomi to be like, "Yo, they want this thing called a headshot resume. What is that?" And so she's an actor, and she sent me her resume to look at. And I ain't never told her this before ever. So she sent me the resume in Word document format, and so cool. So I'd like. Brian Keys, cool. Let me change this to a male name. Let me do this. Totally made up the resume. And then I went to Sears and got like one of them glam headshots, which don't ever do that. That is not a headshot. I'm telling, like, if you're trying to be an actor, that is not a headshot. And I went to the audition. I booked it. It was crazy. It was crazy. So it was my first time as a lead. It was the lead of the play. And that was just like my introduction to acting. And it didn't hit like I thought it was gonna hit in terms of like, okay, I'm an actor. Still, I'm a musician. I'm a singer. Cool. Fast forward, I did several of those plays until one time I like crossed paths with like a real actor. And he's like, what are you doing? And this is not to highlight what this actor said, but it's to show what the mindset is from a professional aspect, and how they look upon these up and coming playwrights or aspiring playwrights who this is their only avenue to get their work out there. And they're like, that's not real acting. That's a stage play. I do theater. I do theater. And I'm like, what you mean? I do theater. Bruh, like this, I'm on a stage. This is a theater. He like, yeah, I bet if I never seen your show, but I bet if I go see your show, there are two doors, there's a couch. And then at some point, a song is going to randomly break out that isn't an original song. It's probably a cover, and it has to do with either sex, betrayal, drugs, or the stereotypical Black drama. I was like, and he's like, yeah, no, I do. I work at equity houses. I'm like, what's an equity house? He said, what do you think the internet is for? Totally dismissive of this artistic, platform, while also not giving me the information to, cool, if you think I'm not doing what is professional, legitimate work, tell me more, So I did my Google research and everything like that. And then I found out what equity is, which is the professional theater union. And there are equity houses who basically they have union contracts to hire actors. So I'm like, all right, bet. So Raven Theater here in Chicago was doing a production called Soldier's Play. and they were looking for a actor who could sing and play instruments. I ain't no actor, but I can sing and play some instruments, so let's go. And I went to that audition, and I remember this was the first time I ever heard of this. My phone rings, and they're like, "Yeah, you have a callback." So my reply is, "What time are you going to call me back?" And in my head, I'm like, "Well, if you knew he was going to call me back, why the hell are you calling me in the first place?" A callback is basically what the second audition is. That's another audition because you made it through that first round. Now they want to see you again to see if you can, if they really want to, see what the chemistry is and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, cool, I'll be there. So I went to the callback and I ended up booking. And a snowball effect started to happen. So casting director from LA was in town casting another show called Hoodoo Love, written by Katori Hall, who is the creator of P Valley. She's an amazing playwright. She's actually, I don't want to call her a playwright. She's an amazing writer. She's an amazing writer. And if you know anything about Katori Hall's writing, it focuses right around this region in America, about like Memphis, Mississippi, and it tells those stories. So there was casting for the role of this character called Ace of Spades. Ace is a blues musician who plays harmonica, guitar, sings, and he's just like swag. So the casting director comes up to me. She's like, "Oh my God, I love how you play guitar. I love your voice. I'm casting this show. Do you by any chance play harmonica?" I said, "Absolutely. Yeah, I got you." I didn't play harmonica, but I ain't gonna tell her that. So she's like, "I'm having auditions Wednesday." And this is like a Saturday, it's a Sunday because it's the last show of the week. And she's like, "I'll get you a slot." I gave her my email address. She sends it. So I'm like, damn, I got to learn harmonica real quick. So I went to Cracker Barrel, I bought a harmonica, and I think I stayed up for like maybe almost a whole like 20 hours straight teaching myself harmonica. And yeah, and I was ready for the audition, went in, I booked that. When I did that show, there's an awards committee. We got Jeff nominated, which is like Chicago's top kind of like theater. I don't know what you want to call them. They're awards committee. They're the top. People look at them like the Tonys, but now I have a different perspective of like how awards and art work. Because I don't believe that art should be put into competition. But however, anyway, I got nominated for a Black Theater Alliance award for most promising actor, which was the Denzel Washington Award. We got Jeff nominated. Then all of a sudden, agents hit me up. "We want to call you in for a meeting to see you." And I'm like, "What's an agent?" I got to go Google that again. I'm like, all right, cool. Okay. So then directors saw me, "Hey, we want you to come do this show. We want you to come to this audition." And so for that first year straight, I was just like booking. But at the same time, I'm still working like a full-time job. Working for this company called Now Foods. And so one day I'm like, damn, gee, like, what if I just like, I'm only half-assed doing this technically, and I'm just like working. What if I just like didn't work? And so I started like, I was like slacking at the gig anyway by now because my passion was kind of like beating in my chest. So amicably parted ways with my job, and I just dove into acting full time. And the passion kind of grew about a year later, where I'm like, oh, I can really do this. So let me like really do this. So I like went to the library, and I just went to the library every day, and I read every single play that they had on the shelf. And this was at the Harold Washington Library, which in Chicago has the largest collection of plays. So then when I read through all those plays, I started ordering in plays for them for me to read. Because for me personally, classroom settings don't do it for me. And so I basically became my own teacher and was learning on the job because I made sure that any show that I did in theater, I attached myself to like what I call the old heads, and learned from them. Like, yo, you got 30 years in this game. How do I do this? And I learned how to shut the hell up, watch, listen, and yeah, and that literally is how I became an actor. Long story long. And I'm still learning, and I'm still learning. That was, like I said, that was 2014, and we're now 2022. So I feel like I'm still a baby in this craft. But yeah, that's how I started.
And you've already made a name for yourself because look at the comments down there. Like people are like, "Oh my God!" Shout outs to Gio. Gio says, "Oh my God, it's Steve Brian
Uh,
Keys." Yes,
Gio was that Dexter overall play. Gio was in that joint with me. So Gio been in there from the beginning with me, and now Gio got something special coming. I don't know if I can say what he got coming, but we just finished the project together, so it's coming, it's coming. And shout out to my boy Caesar Torres. I see him in there. Everybody, it's so many people in. This is all love. This is what's up. This is what's up. I wish I
yeah,
could say what's up. This is my first time doing live, so I don't know how this work. I'm learning too.
yeah. These are
Uh,
your. It's a mix. It's both of our followers. They are here for you. How does this
that's what's
feel to
up.
have everybody here supporting you and rooting for
Uh,
you?
my people know me. I'm on. It's weird. Like I like to be low key. You know, I like doing the. I'm about the work. You know what I mean? Like it's the work for me. You know, like I don't have these. I never had these aspirations to be famous. I never had aspirations to for people to know my name. It was just understanding how to do the work, and be about the work and just reach goals, you know, because I feel like if I get too sidetracked, I'm like, oh yeah, I want you like you know who I am. Like I'm the work gonna fall off for me. That's how I personally feel. So like everyone knows, like people that support me and people that have known me know that like, yo, I appreciate you. However, y'all know me. I'm just trying to work. I'm just trying to work.
And that you have. Let's go through the list here. I know you, and the world has gotten to know you as some of your famous characters: Julius Aston, Chicago PD. You've done Empire. You've done Power Book 4 Force, which is the
Yeah,
spinoff for Tommy. You've done shows like Lovecraft Country, Rest in Peace to Michael.
yeah.
That took everyone by surprise. You've done shows like Chicago Fire, Empire, but I'm gonna go back to Lovecraft because I've mentioned
Mhm.
Michael. Where were you when you found out that he passed?
Um, I was at the crib actually, um, and it was. I will say this about life right now: we are losing so many of our pioneers right now, and the reason why, like, I consider Michael a pioneer is because he allowed people to break through what they see his exterior to be as a black man, you know, and where you would see him, you might write him off, or you might say, oh, this is this type of person, or whatever, without knowing he has this extreme pedigree of the craft and of the work and in the industry, and is able to transform his ability to transform into any character that he wanted to dive into. And it was something inspiring and motivating about that. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I still like, to me he's Omar, and it's not a bad thing, and it's not to typecast or break him into. That character was not supposed to live as long as it lived in the world of The Wire, but his ability to lock in and be able to see the humanity of the character on that page allowed Omar to just be like, Omar is legendary. Omar is a legendary character, and so I think that that is something that he planted his flag in. Every character that you see Michael play is so it's such an in-depth look into who this person is, and it's never a singular linear path that this character takes. He shows all the layers of black existence, and I think that that's just like a beautiful contribution to the world. And I think that it will, like, his legacy will forever live on. His legacy will forever live on. But it also exposes the fact that, you know, there is a very real crisis going on with this fentanyl. You know, like, it is just, it's crazy. It is just, we are losing too many too soon to this poison. Um, but yeah, and I don't know what the fix is for that. You know, just be, you know, if you do what you do, just be careful, where you getting it from, who you getting it from, and if you ain't bring it, don't try it. That's the only advice I can put out there. If you didn't bring it, don't try it.
I agree 100%. And I'm going to add on to what you just said. No, as you get in this industry, as you grow, don't lose sight of who you are. This business is a we've lost Michael, we've lost Prince, we've lost so many people to this industry and in this business, and that part of that aspect is a very dark place. So please just stay true to who you are. Don't lose sight of who you are, and as you say, be careful. Be careful in this business because it is very cutthroat. It's about making everything, it's perfection.
Yeah.
So please just put God first in everything that you do and remain humble. Don't become so alienated that people forget, like, this is not, is this you or is this not you? So, God,
And
my heart goes to his
absolutely.
family.
Yeah. And you touched on something there. It is anybody who, and this is about artists. The life of an artist is sometimes it's lonely,
Yeah,
sometimes it is exhausting, um, because we are literally creating something organically from nothing, and we are using our voice and we're putting it out there, and we're not necessarily putting it out there to be accepted. We're putting it out there to be heard and to tell this story. And sometimes it can be very it can we can lose ourselves. And so, like, I'm thankful for my circle and my tribe because they be check like I said, I be locked in on the work and they check
yeah,
in on me and
grounded.
they just make
Mhm.
sure. um but it is the life of an artist is I don't wish it upon anybody because you have to you just have to be really committed to really execute and really reach the heights that you want to reach. Which is why, like you hear these stories of, like a Heath Ledger or a Philip Seymour Hoffman, um, and they call it, and they're like they're battling demons. It's not really demons. It's really just the voice. The voice is out there, and it's sometimes you have to really have that discipline and understand how to, in a healthy way, exit out of that voice. So yeah, just check up on your artist friends. Like really check up on your artist friends because we be going through it. You don't even know it. You don't even know it. We are skillful at smiling through the pain. We are skillful at smiling through the pain.
And you guys know that Janet Jackson is one of my favorite singers. I watched the interview that she did, and she was in the height of her career. This is after she did, her tours for Rhythm Nation and things. Is around the Velvet Rope area. She says she found herself in a dark place, and to speak on to what Brian is saying, that dark place where you have to use and abuse and substances and all of these things, talk to somebody, get help. Mental health within the Black community is real, and we never
Absolutely,
know what a person is battling unless you sit down like we're doing now and have a conversation. And y'all know
absolutely.
where I'm going with it.
Yeah,
I don't even have to mention a name, but a certain individual at Paris Fashion Week pulled a stunt, and I'm gonna touch on that briefly. Um, we can't keep excusing bad behavior. There has to be a time where you have to call someone in, like Brian said, and let them know that this is dangerous. What you're doing is dangerous. You need to talk about this. We can't keep just putting mental health on this person's uh thing. I don't even have to call his name. You know where I'm going with.
yeah, yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah,
This is all I'll say about the situation. Um, be very conscious and careful of who you label as your leader and as a hero to you. Um, because now we're in this era where influence is automatically associated with leadership, and everybody isn't meant to be followed. And you have to just have a filter and have a understanding of discernment of who you place your faith behind, who you place up on a pedestal. Um, and it's a reason why, they have that saying of like, never meet your heroes. And we're in this day and age with social media, with easy access, where we may not physically meet them, but we are getting a very clear look at who you are,
Yeah.
and we are meeting you. And like, it used to be like a cute saying to be like, we missed the old version of who we talking about. I can appreciate the artistic contribution that were those projects. But now, I don't have an opinion, because I'm not going to throw stones. I ain't perfect. But just be careful who you follow. Just be careful who you follow is all I can say.
Some people go so far and so deep to get in this business that they literally sell their soul. And my mom and me, as you told your mom, told the story in the beginning, about your mom said you was going for something else instead of letting her know about the audition. Our parents sort of tried to shield us from this business because they know how it is. And I'll give you an example. Brandy, singer.
Vocal
She did an
Bible.
interview with Arsenio, and Arsenio asked her and her mom, Sonia, um, are you going to let your daughter get into this business in the music industry? She said, no, she's going to be a dentist or something to that extent. And now her daughter is out here making music. And I guess it's because Brandy took the time to coach her and teach her about this business. If you're going to do this, this is what you need to know. This is the basics of what you need to know of getting into the music industry from here to there, because we hear so many stories from artists like Prince, like Michael Jackson, that you mentioned in the beginning, the late Whitney Houston. I hate saying that, but
Hmm.
we hear stories from artists telling their aspect of the industry. Even the current artists out now, from Meg Thee Stallion to Cardi B to so many others, they're now telling you what you can expect if you decide to get into this business. And you know that as an artist, as a musician, and as an actor, this is what you can expect. So that's why we do these interviews on my platform, to educate and to bring awareness on what people can expect to get into this business, because it's not all glitz and glamour. It looks beautiful. Yes, you see the pictures, you see everything. But I think about that Mary J. Blige video where she's walking and you see like the paparazzi, and she shows
Hmm.
just how we're looking right now. But then she turns them into monsters. So
Yeah,
you guys get it. It's a dark side. Not everything is all glitz and glamour to this business. And my mom even told me, she kind of shielded me from it a bit too. She said, okay, you're putting yourself out there for scrutiny and criticism. And so far, the criticism has been great. I've took it in, and I have a great team behind me. I call him my little PR. My brother, iambriankeys, in here, has been coaching me and helping me behind the scenes on, basically what it takes to be an amazing hostess. And exactly, Kev, work hard, keep your head down, and trust the process. Not down, but up. We're going up. We're going to stay elevated. We're going to stay, to a point where we're bringing awareness to this. And it's all about having a great circle behind you. Because there's going to be people out here that are going to try to doubt you in this business, that are going to have their criticism here and there, but it's up to you to take it. And again, it goes back to that circle. How well do you take criticism from your circle? And I know Alan Yankee, shout outs to my girlfriend Felicia. I know she's watching, and so many others have tapped me on the shoulder like, girl, what are you doing, Miss Ma'am? Miss Moss, what are
yeah,
you doing? So those are the type of people that you really need to have in your life. And my circle is very, very small. And I like to bring up Beyonce and bring it up a few of my favorite singers. I'm pretty sure Beyonce and her team is the same thing. They protect her and they make sure that she's in a place where it's okay. Call me out if I'm doing something wrong, if I said something wrong. But
absolutely. Yeah.
mental health is important. Yes.
I will say this. So if so this is my perspective on things, right?
Yeah.
I know that as parents, as people like, already in this lane, we give these tidbits out, and I think that you always just have to trust what it is that you want to do, because regardless of like what I may say of, yeah, I never come from the perspective like this is what to expect. I kind of give the nuggets of this is how to prepare, because my path, my journey won't be the same as anybody else's. Your path isn't the same as anybody else's,
Right.
because that's just how life works. Um, and I think that it is, I'll speak for my mom. It wasn't because my mom maybe didn't think I could do it or whatever. It was more so about we exist as Black people in this world. And we
Yes.
understand how difficult this existence can be. And we understand how life can tear us down, you know. Um, so it's a protectiveness, she's coming from a place of protectiveness. Now me, I'm coming from a perspective of I'm gonna do what I want to do, you know. Anybody know me know this. I'm going to do what I want to do, and you're not gonna get in my way. And that is the only thing that I ever push people to do. Attach to what it is that you want to do, commit to it, and just move forward. And I think that that circle around you is very, very crucial because it's about accountability. And I never hit up my people to be like, yo, was this good? It's more so about what can I do better? What did you identify as a misstep and things like that? Because that is what keeps propelling you forward. Because knowing what you did good and knowing like it's cool to know that because you're like, great, that's cute, But to get me to where I'm trying to be, it's about self-awareness, self-correction, and just building, 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 building. So accountability is crucial, and accountability is key, in my opinion.
I agree, and I second that. It's very important to have people around you that will give you that nudge or that tap on the shoulder and say, okay, we're not calling you out, but we're calling you in. And people are so quick to say, oh well, no, we're no, you're calling us, no. We're welcoming you in. We're not trying to cancel anybody or do anything. We're trying to welcome you in and say, look, I understand where you're coming from. I know where you're coming from. I've been there, and educating the person and letting them know. That's how accountability works. It doesn't work just one way. So,
Absolutely.
but let's get off the heavy for a minute because I need you guys to take a deep breath, go and refresh your drinks because that was heavy. That was my response to what I saw at Paris Fashion Week, being a girl that loves couture, fashion, and beauty, and so many things. You follow me, guys follow me here on Instagram, and it's flooded with beautiful women, beautiful fashion, beautiful everything. And you guys even see the looks that I give you. So that was my response to that. But let's get to what the big thing I want to know from Brian, which is what was it like getting that call to appear on and have a role on this show as Agent Edgar Vargas, Power Book for Force. What was it like getting that call for this?
It was it was I don't even know, I don't have words to describe getting the call, because this process for me getting on Power was a very I call it a very unorthodox process.
Mm,
And I'm still to this day, I don't fully know how it happened. um, so basically so let's let's rewind. So I found out that Power was coming. We knew that the spinoffs were happening because Power is my, like, if you know me, Power is my show. It is my favorite show. And I remember years ago, this is before, this is, I think, maybe season 2 or 3. I can't recall because what is time anymore? And I was in New York, because I was doing a show, called Catch the A Train off Broadway, and it was right around my boy Rotimi's birthday. And so, shout out to Rotimi, amazing human, new father, everything. Y'all know Miss Dre, and he's more than that.
mhm.
And he was having a birthday, so I went to his crib, and Chris Lofton, who plays Jannard, he was in town shooting. Um, what was he shooting at the time? Chris always working. I can't remember what he was shooting, but it was some project that he was shooting. And like we go, like me and Chris go back years. Like that is like my brother, and Ro is like my brother. And Ro had the Power script on his coffee table, And I remember me and Lambo, who was Chris, I call him Lambo, me and Chris looking at the script and like, yeah, we're gonna do this show. We're getting on this show. Like I remember us saying it that day. And 2020 comes, the spinoff for us, they're like, they're gonna be filming in Chicago. I text my agent, yo, Todd, I'm getting on this show. And so I get the first audition, and it's for the role of Diamond. I know Power, and I know how this works. And I'm like, no. However, let me get in front of casting. Let me show them what I can do. And so I sent that audition in, and I didn't expect to book Diamond, because in my mind I'm like, they already have Diamond. They know who Diamond is. But now let me show them who Brian Keys is. Then I get the audition for Elijah, which was Jeremiah's character. And I'm like, nah, this ain't me, but let me show them who I am. Then I get an audition for Seamus. And I'm like, close, but this ain't really my lane. Like, I can do this. Like, I know I can kill this, but I can do a little bit more. And then hits the holiday break. This is Thanksgiving, Christmas comes, and everything like that. And I don't hear nothing. So I'm like, all right, bet. First week of January comes, casting reaches out to my agent, and they're like, hey, do you want to do the table read for the pilot, which was episode 101? And just to let you know, table reads is basically like where the writers get to hear the words for the first time from the actor's voice, and it's a very crucial component to the TV and film process. And so I love doing table reads because they're opportunity to just basically learn and use your voice and just still do the work. Like, that is the work, like booking is booking, but the work is the work. So I said, yeah, absolutely. So I do this. So basically what I do as a table read is like any actor who doesn't show up or not able to make it, or they haven't cast the role or whatever, I'll read that part. And so the dope thing about the original pilot was there were moments where there were flashbacks to the original Power. There's a little inside. There were moments from the original Power that were used as flashbacks, and they were all instances that Tommy had with Ghost. And so I got to read Ghost, and I was like, "Ooh, I know what I'm gonna do. I know this world." So basically, I knew exactly which episode it was and which scene it was, so how to pull it up on my Stars app. And I watched the scene, and I remember memorizing Omari's cadence and speech pattern for how he did these lines. So every time the Ghost line came, I made sure that I did it exactly how Omari did it. And I'm like, only people who know the world would know what it is that I'm doing. And so I go through that table read. Then the second episode comes up, and they hit up my agent up again, and they're like, hey, does he want to do a table read? This time it's different. This time they want me to do what's called the stage directions, which is basically any action that happens before an actor speaks, I read those. So I'm basically narrating the entire script. And this is something new to happen. So the showrunner, Robert Munich, wants to talk to me before the table read. And I'm like, what do you want to talk to me for? So he goes, hey, how you feeling? I'm like, I'm good. Any questions? I'm like, nope. In my head, I'm like, I'm just reading the script. Like, it's easy, So I do that table read. And I remember I got a text, me a table read. And I'm like, and they were like, hey, you read for this part because this actor's not showing up. And immediately right there, I'm like, this isn't a normal table read right now. Something's going on. And I'm like, this is an audition. I knew right away. I'm like, this is an audition. For what? I don't know. But this is an audition. So then the table read ends, and maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes. It was some timeline. It was like a short timeline after that table read. I get a phone call from my agent, and he's like, hey, do you want good news? And then I'm like, bro, you my agent. Like, what do you mean? Like, any good news from you I want. So like, what are you talking about? And he's like, they're sending you for network approval for a role on Power. and the role is and they gave me the name, Special Agent Edgar Vargas. And I'm like, he said, "Do you want to accept it?" I'm like, what? Yeah, like it's power. What do you mean? Do I want to accept it? Like who? Like get off my phone, G. Like don't ask me dumb questions. Like yes, yes, yes. And so I knew nothing about the character. I knew nothing like that. I just knew the name. So I don't know what this means because I've never been in this situation before. So I'm hitting up like my friends and I'm like, yo, what is network approval? What depend like what controls this? And they're like, well, that means that this group of people want you. It just has to get approved by the network as a yes. And I'm like, so cool. What's the percentage of this happening or whatever? I'm even calling like my homie who's been a casting director for like Marvel, and I'm like, yo, what does this mean? And she's like, I've never had this experience before. Let me know what happens. And I'm like, let you know. I'm like, so this is a week. This is me for a whole week. I'm like, am I about to be on Power or am I not about to be on Power? And I'm like, I feel like I'm about to be on Power. And so the week goes by and I get the phone call and they're like, hey, you just booked Power. And I was like, this exact quote, get the fuck out of here. And I hung up the phone. And that's literally how I found out that I like book Power. And then I don't know nothing about no scenes. I don't know nothing. I just know I'm on Power and I'm a special agent, which is crazy because before you even book me for this, in my head, I'm like, they probably gonna make me like a drug dealer. I'm probably gonna be, out there gang banging, slanging, but yeah, and that's how I don't know, and I still to this day I don't know but shout out to Kendra Chapman, because it was her episode that my character introduced, and I did find out that Kendra created this character. So she's a Chicago native. That's the homie, and yeah, like yeah, yeah. So black woman created me on Power, and it's dope. And I remember the very first table read, and prior to, I was talking to a friend. I was like, man, I think the only thing that needs to happen is I need to get on Courtney's radar. How I get on Courtney's radar, and like I can get on the show then. And before the table read even started, because we're doing Zoom table reads, Courtney gets on, and she just starts giving me a shout out, and I'm like, what the is going on right now? And then she's like saying my name. I'm like, Courtney knows my name? And then she's like, yeah, we were talking about you. We knew we had to get you on the show. I'm like, you were talking about me? It's crazy. It's still I still don't know how it happened, but I'm grateful, and it's been an amazing journey. It's really been an amazing journey. The most exciting part has been being able to drive down the street in a police car and stop traffic because they think that your car is real. Hold on,
Yes.
time out. I got eyebrows like Ice Cube. I just saw that. That's crazy. What's funny about that is that I actually did get to do a callback for Straight Outta Compton for the role of Ice Cube. That was crazy. That was a crazy experience. Knew I wasn't gonna book it, but that was dope. And that's not the first time I've heard Ice Cube. I don't see it, but yeah, that's what's up. Random. I just saw that pop up, so I had to say something.
I was just about to say it as well too. There is a strong canon resemblance, and I'm pretty sure you get that a lot.
Yay, yay. That's what's up.
Started from the bottom. I was just about to say, and the audience, they're saying everything that I was just about to say, which is this is manifestation. Like, this is a pinch me moment. This is 50 Cent's baby. This is his project that he's worked on and has his team together as a collective. So this is unreal. And then fast forward, we see the picture of you in the chair. I'm going to describe that picture. Well, I want you to describe it. What's running through your mind when you're sitting on that chair that says Power Book Force?
Um, you want to know my real answer? Nothing. Like, because here's the thing, like, I don't really, like, I will say this, I'm getting better at understanding to experience things in the moment. Um, but when I'm on set, like, I'm just locked in, because it's the work, you know. I just want to make sure that I'm just executing and I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. And because it's so funny, I remember that. I remember when I took that picture, because that picture was actually we had just shot. It was episode 106, season one. We had just shot the scene where we raid Walter's office. Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen, watch the show. It's not as like I don't. It's not a spoiler. You should have been watching it already if you didn't know that. And it was Adenike, my partner, actually took that photo. And it just, I was like, oh, this is like a real, really, after the fact, I'm like, man, this is a really dope picture, you know? But yeah, in the moment, I ain't even thinking about that. I'm just like, I gotta do these words. I gotta tell this story. I have to connect with my scene partner. I have to make sure that, my crew is good, because they've been here longer than I've been here, so it's, none of that stuff ever enters my mind while I'm on set. And I got to make sure I go back crafty to get me some fruit snacks and a LaCroix, so things like that. Ahmad Ferguson, I have to shout him out real quick. This young brother he's the now and the future. Like, I've never seen someone so young be able to process and grab text and just make it his own and just chew on the words and spit them out as if he'd been here before. He's Marshall on Power. He's also Bakari on The Shy, and he's done several other projects. And this brother, like, he know how to keep his head low, do the work, and just bring it every take. He don't take no takes off. So I just saw him pop up. Shout out to Ahmad.
Yes, 100%. Ahmad says he loves you.
Love you, little bro. That's little bro right there. I literally just talked to him today. Randomly, he came across my mind. I texted him. I was like, "Yo, you're legendary. You're legendary. Literally, he is legendary." So
And I love the fact, Brian, that you give other actors their flowers as well too. We talked about this when we talked a little bit about the whole situation with that person, where other people don't give other people their credit and flowers. And I love the fact that you do that because I was watching this interview with Regina King and Anjanou Ellis, and seeing both of these ladies interact and just give each other their flowers. I love it so much. It's amazing.
Vonzell too. Vonzell Scott, another great actor. We just did this project called Untold Story of Mound Sauce. And like all the actors up in here, man, like it what's crazy about it is like if you only hear like literally go, I don't know how to do this. Go through and look, and there's so many talented artists that are on right now. Yo, T Taylor. I gotta stop. I have to stop. Terrell Taylor. Um Terrell kind of entrenched in me how to even go harder. We was out, so Terrell used to go to this open mic, and he made sure that I was always had a slot to perform every Monday. It was Celeb Night open mic, and one day we was outside the big hotel, and he said something to me, and I don't even know if T remember this. He was like, "Nobody should ever ask you what you do." He was like, "Nobody should ever ask you what you do," and yeah, that's always just like stuck with me. Like no one should ask like what I do. Like the work should precede my work ethic and work should be in that room before I even enter into it. And that's been the goal ever since he said that to me. So yeah, shout out to T Taylor for real.
Absolutely. Gio says celeb night open, Miss Mick Victor
Mike, yeah,
Hotel.
so
Mhm.
Celeb Night Open Mic, that's the event that Terrell put together along with Tommy B and Willie Taylor, his brother. And it was at the spot called Victor Hotel. And it was just like that was the place to be on Monday nights in Chicago. It was a vibe. It was a whole vibe. And literally it kind of like I don't know, it literally kind of planted the seed of who I am in the entertainment artist community here in Chicago.
Mm.
I will say that. Nobody was really checking for me before Celeb Night Open Mic. I will say that. Nobody was checking for me before that.
And to see where you're at now, I know at this point in your life, do you ever go back and look and just sit, like you said when we described the photo that you took in the chair? Do you ever have those moments where you sit and just like, wow, is this real? Like I know even for me, after I've done interviews with so many people, I would sit and just be like, wow, I can't believe this just happened. This is just unreal. Like, do you ever have that feeling where it's just like, this is unreal to
I know I have them. I always have it in the moment. Um, because when it happens, you you can't just store it and process it. Sometimes, like for me, I can't just store it and process it later.
me?
Like I let it be known. Um, like um, what was the most recent instance? Some of the cast we went to go see the Kevin Hart show at the United Center. He was on tour doing his tour, whatever. And so, the United Center set us up with a dinner beforehand. And I walk up to the table and, I see all familiar faces. And then I see sitting right there is Shane Johnson, who plays Cooper Sax. And without even hesitation, let out an audible, yo, what the fuck? Like it was crazy because in the world of the show and being such a fan of the show, it was like, all right, cool. What structure can I center Vargas around? And a lot of Vargas is a mix of the foundation that Shane built with Cooper Sax. It's a little bit of Greg Knox. It's also, a little bit of Ghost in terms of the drive and
Mm,
the commitment to getting what it is that you want. But Cooper, like the Cooper Sachs character, kind of showed me the possibility and the heights that you can reach if you just lock in and just do the work. Because the parallel is Shane was doing table reads too. Shane was the table reader. Like it was, yeah, yeah. So in the moment, we had a few. I don't know, like I mean, it's on my. I think I can talk about it. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this. I might not. Let's just say Robert Townsend.
mm,
Robert Townsend just directed an episode, and if you know me, Robert Townsend is he's a goat. He is a
yes.
goat in terms of the black contribution to this art form, where, with Hollywood Shuffle going to studios and being like, yo, can I get they call them the burning, like it's a leftover film and piecing that together and using leftover film to shoot Hollywood Shuffle in, I think, 13 days. Like in 13, and it's like, it's a classic
Mhm.
film. You know what I mean? And to meet him, and I remember when I remember walking the set and we're going to the stages and he's sitting in a chair and I'm walking over to introduce myself and say, hello, Mr. Townsend. This is such, like just greeting. And before I can get a word out of my mouth, he starts talking to me about how he's excited to work with me and how he loves what I've been doing. And it, my mind went like this, and the only thing I could say in response was, "You lying." I will never forget my very first word to Robert Townsend was, "You lying," and that's literally how that interaction went. And through that whole process, just absorbing and soaking up all the gems that he planted in me,
Yeah.
and yeah, 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 like it's been surreal. I think the most other speechless moment probably would be when I met Spike Lee. Um, and it's I don't know if I can say where I met him at because I think there's an NDA, so I won't say where, but I was over this huge event that I co-produced, and afterwards we were just hanging out talking, and we got to literally just talk for like 20-25 minutes just about work in the art, and it
Mm,
was it was crazy, and we like toasting champagne about like black art, like it's. And I love acknowledging those moments in the moment because I am always instantly aware of how special this is and how rare it is and how I may not get this moment again like this, may not get
cherish
this
it.
moment like this. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, you guys, if you see me kind of squint. I was going to my question box because I'm going to get to some of you guys' questions for Brian, and then we're going to do two games with him, and then we're going to wrap up Fashion Dolls. My questions are not popping up, so if you guys have any questions, type them in the comments as they scroll up because I cannot see my box. But yes, cherish the moment, seize the moment. That's why I had to ask you that question because even for me, when I do certain things, it's just like, wow, it's like an aha moment for me. Like, did this really just happen? Like, I'm sitting here and really taking this all in. And I tell people all the time, be in the present, seize the moment, and practice the art of stillness. And what I mean by that is cherish all of the things that life has thrown your way, all of the curveballs, all of the things from your heights, from your highs to your lows, mainly your highs. Cherish all of them and celebrate because this is big. This is an accomplishment. And you got a question from Gio.
Gio, I will not be releasing music again. Because I'm an actor, bro. Like I feel like that's the trend. Like I feel like that's the trend now. Like you feel compelled, like, oh man, I got this project. Let me drop a single real quick. Like, but like that ain't me. I know my lane. I know my lane, and my focus right now is I'm just trying to be like the best actor that I can possibly be. And none of that encompasses being in a recording studio. Um, so I mean, I still like I don't get me wrong. I still in my spare time, I'll still grab my guitar or jump on keys or whatever because that's art too, and that's always within me. But the pursuit right now is I'm just trying to be the dopest actor that I possibly can be.
And you got another question from Ao. Ao wants to know what's been the most challenging thing to adapt to, bro, besides stepping into the power universe.
First of all, shout out, bro. So he was man, what was it? You were part of the universe too. Stand in. He was like you're an actor, bro. But like, just want to give you your flowers too. It's been a pleasure working with you throughout the years on multiple projects. What's been the most challenging to adapt? There hasn't been a challenge, honestly, um, because the text provides you with all the tools that you need, and any questions that arise when you're looking at the script, the job then is to see if you can answer those questions. And then
Yeah,
if you need help from the writers or the showrunner and this or the producing director, which is release the domain, showrunner Gary Lennon or whoever is the writer for that episode, ask the questions. But for the most part, I mean, I did enough homework. So before season two, because I knew I had time, I built what's called a dramaturgical packet for myself that basically I did the research to build an in-depth look of what it is to be an actual federal agent, down to knowing where the field offices are in Chicago. Then I was reading dossiers and memoirs of past agents to understand what the hurdles are. And then I did the homework to understand what it's like to be a person of color in the FBI, from salary to family life to yeah, like my dramaturgical packet for the show is like stupid. Um, and so because I did the homework, no hurdles, like yeah, it was just like this is the situation right now. So cool, let's play. Let's play. Because if you build a strong enough arena to play in, then everything is just going. It's like Lucy fun. And it helps too working with an artist like Joseph Sikora, because the one thing that you observe with Joseph is he has done the work. That blueprint is there. Um, and there is a very clear distinction between Joseph Sikora and Tommy Egan. And you see that flip happen. Like you see that flip happen, and it is stupid crazy to watch. And Joseph never he understands how to separate the perspective of Joseph and the perspective of Tommy. Not meaning, and you also because you have to create such a three-dimensional character,
yeah.
there are a lot of elements of yourself within this character. However, this you have to make it be from the viewpoint of the character and not yourself. So it's just been like this is a special cast, this is a special crew, and it's a special world that we exist in on Power. So thankfully it's been real easy to adapt and just play in the world.
Absolutely. Do we have any more questions? Fashion dolls, you can type them in the comments below because my question box is not working. I tried to type it, touch it, and I cannot see the question. So type them in the comment section. So
Yo,
while we
Al
wait,
Jaleel McGee just stepped in. Damien Escobar, yo, that's what's up. My brothers just came in, so I had to like shout them out. Was it a gut feel? I'm gonna read this question right here. Was it a gut feeling or manifestation that had you back and studied the cadence of ghosts to give life to your own character? Ooh, that's a good question. My gut. And let me speak on manifestation real quick. I don't fully understand manifestation. I will admit that. So I don't know. I don't. I'm. That's why I'm like inclined to say gut. Because maybe to me manifestation sounds like you set the goal, then you do the work to make the two connect and meet at some point in life. But my gut, because I like being a great scene partner. And so, in order to give Joseph what he needs for a Tommy response, I have to give him what the page requires as a ghost response. So, it's always within my gut to what does the page tell me to do, and I just do it. So yeah, that's why I went back and I watched to figure out the cadence for what Omari did for Ghost in those scenes.
and there's another one.
Ahmad, what's
Yeah.
some important things you do in your everyday life to enhance your craft? You know this, bro. One, if you meet me, you notice that I am oftentimes really quiet, and that's just my natural inclination because I watch the world around me. Because
Mm,
art has this really connected way of wanting to imitate life. If you look at a lot of the artists from the past, Nina Simone, um, James Baldwin, um, any of your artists that you see, you notice that they want to reflect what's going on in the time. So art imitates life. So what I do a lot of is I observe and absorb life a lot, um, to understand what naturalism is. So my acting style is very much so naturalism, where I just wanted to breathe. I wanted to be really very real. Another thing that I do is I study Shakespeare. Um, I will never ever, me personally, I will never ever perform Shakespeare just because as an artist, I don't feel compelled to play within a world that was never designed for me to exist in the first place. Because if you know anything about history and Shakespeare, all the roles in Shakespeare were intended to be played by white men. Even the female characters, they were played by white men. And so I don't really want to play in that arena because I don't trust that the words are truly, genuinely expressed from my perspective.
mm,
And I'm not a marionette. But one thing that I do appreciate about Shakespeare is that it is so rooted and based in text. Our contemporary scripts now, if you look at them, they give us actions or blocking or, let us know what the emotions are. In Shakespearean time, I call it Shakespearean time. I don't know if that's really what the time is called. Way back then, all they had were the words. And Shakespeare, I think he created about maybe 1,600 words to the English dictionary, you know, which is why it's crazy for us now as Black people. We will make up words and they want to tell us that's not a word, but it was cool when Shakespeare did it. Anyway, I digress. So I study Shakespeare because they just had the words. He would write words, and the words, if you look at it, how it's spelled, dictates sometimes emotion, sometimes thought process. Punctuation tells you mindset. Um, the lack of punctuation. So if you look at a stanza and there's no periods, no comma, it lets you know, okay, you're just flowing. This is a really emotional moment. You can tell when there is a side where it's like, you're telling a story, and I think this happened, but then that story is going. So like looking at punctuation. So the book that I recommend, it's called Thinking Shakespeare. It's a really good read where it basically lets you know how to study text from a Shakespearean perspective. Um, yeah, so yeah, that's the study life and just read books. I also highly recommend The Alchemist. It is not a acting book, but The Alchemist is just one of those parables that it lets you know like everything is going to happen how it's supposed to happen based upon the actions that you take. You just have to keep moving forward. So yeah, that's the answer to that question. I see one more. Shout out to Blake Martin. I see you, brother. What lane of actor do you see yourself as, and what lane you don't see yourself going down? Ooh, man, that's a good question. I see myself as a truthful actor. Um, and that is the lane that I want to stay in. And that's the lane that I'm trying to create for myself. I want to tell the stories that are reflective of human existence, preferably, um, told from writers of color, writers who look like me, teams that look like me. Um, where I don't see myself going is doing stuff just to do stuff. Like I say no a lot. I say no a lot. Some of your bigger shows, I have said no. Love you, bro. Peace out. New York in the building. What's up, bro? I see you, man. Um, because the most powerful thing that we have as artists, as humans, as people, as Black people, is the ability to say no. That's not for me, and be firm in it and be okay with it. Like, because for me in my career, um, I don't have a question of if. People know that, like, if you know me, you know this is my perspective. I never ask the question if this is going to happen. I always say when this is going to happen, or I ask when is it going to happen. So it's not if but when. So I trust that as long as I stay committed to the work and have a foundation and a perspective and voice that I'm using as an artist, I'm good. I'm good. And also like I know where I came from. Like I came from nothing. So in the event that like this all were to vanish tomorrow, I'm still good because I was good with nothing. Um, and even if the industry washes away and disappears, I am still an artist and I can still express my voice and I can still do the work. And that's one thing that I think 2020 taught a lot of us is that there was no industry. Nothing was happening, but I was still creating. Yeah. But that's the answer to that question.
Do
Is it
we
game
have
time
any
now?
questions, fashion dolls? Before we get into, well, we're gonna get right into our games with Brian, and then we're gonna wrap up. I can't keep him fashion dolls. So the first one is called the Rapid Five, and Brian has to tell us five things that he can't live without. And then the next one is where I cut the velvet rope for those of you who do not know me, and I unveil a lot about myself. This is where my guests get to ask me questions. So it's called Turn the Tables. Brian is going to interview me and ask me some questions. So I'm passing it on down to him. But we're going to start off with the rapid five. What are five things that Brian can't live without?
Five things I can't live without: family, gummy bears, cartoons, music, water.
All right. Okay. All right.
Was that good? That was good.
Yes.
Okay, cool, cool,
Family
cool.
first in everything. I'm the same way. I put family first. All right, fashion dolls, it is time to turn those tables. My heart is beating so fast right now. I do not know what he is going to ask me. My guests get to ask as many questions as they want to. So I'm going to pass it on to Brian.
Okay. All right. I gotta get my CNN voice on for this. In your life experiences, um, and knowing the goals and the journey that it is that you have established for yourself, what has been the biggest obstacle you have had to overcome? And once you overcame that obstacle, what is your perspective like now looking back?
Um, I would have to say being black, being a woman. It's not easy. It's not, and I've had to climb so many obstacles to get where I'm at. I've had doors closed in my face too. So we talked about the power of knowing how powerful it is for us as people of color. So to make a long story short, I've had to do things to get where I'm at. Not like that, but you guys know, it's not easy being a woman in this industry, in this business in general.
Love it. My second question: what is some advice that you would give to your younger self if you were sitting
And
next to her today?
advice that I would give my younger self, I would tell her to hang in there. Hang in there. It's going to be a wild ride. It's going to be so much in the horizon for you and the stars if you just hang in there and continue to work hard and follow your passion and heart's desires. Because there was one point in my life where I just wanted to give it up. I didn't want to do it, but I kept going.
And what's your driving force?
My driving force, I would have to say my mom. My mom is my motivation for me to keep going. My mom and my grandma, very important to me and dear to me in my life. So they've always been there, very supportive.
As we wrap up this year 2022, what is one thing that you're targeting to just execute and achieve before this year wraps up?
I would have to say I want to get behind the scenes. I want to produce. I want to direct. You guys see me as the face of this platform, but I want to do so much more behind the scenes as well too on other platforms, up and coming platforms, produce and direct and go in that direction instead of just being the face of something. So yeah, I would like to be behind the scenes.
Okay. And now to dive into something a little personal. Right now, what are the top three television shows that you're watching and are just loving at the moment? And what is one that you're hating?
What is one that died? What now? I couldn't hear the last
What
part.
is one that you're hating and you just couldn't get through it and you're like, I'm done? So you have three that you're loving and one that you're just like, no.
Um, my top three favorite shows. I haven't really been watching TV like that. I like to watch a lot of classic television. So I would have to say Dynasty is one of my favorites. I watch it because of Diane Carroll, and the fashion. Um, number two, another one of my favorites would have to be Girlfriends. I binge watch it on other platforms because it showcases women of color. Um, number three, I would have to say Insecure, Issa Rae. Shout outs to her. And number four, what is one of my least favorites? Oh God, oh God, y'all don't go after me for this. And I mean, it took so long to finally get black contestants on the show, but I would have to say Big Brother. I would have to say Big Brother is one of my least favorites. So,
Okay. Okay. Um, that's all I got. Those are good answers.
all right, fashion dolls. There we go. You get to know a little bit about me and what I'm feeling. Just letting down the velvet rope for my new viewers out there. He asked some good questions. He might need to be on CNN on the side. Shout outs to Jay Evans, y'all. Please
Jay,
go and subscribe to his YouTube channel. He's done a lot of reviews on the Bell Collective. I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with that show. So definitely, and interviews with some of the ladies on that show. So please go and subscribe to Jay Evans on YouTube and check out Style by Stevie Daytime. Our channel is there as well too. So head on over and subscribe. So do we have any last questions for Mr. Brian Keys before we wrap up this incredible interview? This has been longly awaited because we didn't have this plan in the
yeah.
work for some time.
I can't wait for Force either. I am so ready to see it and watch it. Um, Before we wrap up, I gotta say this. I'm greatly appreciative of you reaching out and even wanting to have me on your platform. Little old me. You didn't have to reach out, but you did, and I'm humbled by it. And when can we see? Sure. When can we see you in more shows? Oh, I'm soon. I don't know. This is all I'll say. Right now, I literally just started a new movie Friday. Um and that's all I can say right now. So I got a movie coming on the way. I don't have a air date yet for Force, and in talks right now for some other shows. But yeah, so 2023 is all I can say to answer that question. NDAs
Appreciate
are
you.
real, y'all. Just so y'all know, NDAs are real. You can't talk about nothing.
Just stay tuned. Make sure you're following him. Make sure you're following the platform. We'll keep you guys updated here. We're gonna have to set up something for Brian to come back in the new year because I've already started, and we've got some amazing guests coming for January 2023, which is also season 17 of Style by Steve. So that means new fashions, new guests, new everything. And Brian might be on the lineup, so you just have to stay tuned. Stay tuned and follow him.
Appreciate y'all, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Keys. And before we go, let everyone know where they can follow you and just one token or nugget of wisdom that you would like to give to people to get into this business, because we covered a lot of things in this interview, from
Oh
mental
yeah, we
health,
did.
and a lot of things. You guys just have to check out the replay if you missed
Follow me if you want to. I am Brian Keys is that's the Twitter, the Instagram. I'm a Twitter head, so like I like engaging on Twitter because it's more cognitive and thought forward. I'm
it.
still figuring out Instagram. I'm not an IGer just yet. It's weird. Um, and iambriankeys.com is the website where more information, you can watch my work and things like that. The only nugget that I can say is embrace your dopeness. And what I mean by
Mm,
that is, in this era where everyone is trying to be like everybody else, and because people may feel this lack of acceptance for who they are, for fear of judgment, for fear of whatever, disregard the opinions of others and only really lock into who it is that you feel that you are and what you can contribute to this world, because you're the first time that you are happening ever, and you're the last time that you will happen. So just embrace your dopeness and embrace who you are, because whoever you are is beautiful and it's needed in this world, because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist yet. So just be you, embrace it, and push forward with it. And Alicia Keys ain't my cousin, but she fine. I'm glad she got my cousin. The Lord is good. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Embrace your dopeness.
And with that being said, Fashion Dolls, thank you guys for tuning into an amazing interview. This has been an extraordinary journey to go on with you. And all this week, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be celebrating Black men. So tomorrow we have Henry Robinson, who is also an actor. And then Thursday we have Elijah Nickleby, who is the owner of Paint and Sit ATL. So we got two more amazing interviews this week. It's all about the fellas. So make sure you guys stay tuned for tomorrow's show at 4 p.m. And I will see you guys tomorrow, Fashion Dolls. And without further ado, make sure you take in all of this knowledge that we both have spit in this interview. Protect your mental health and energy. We love you, and stay safe. Y'all bundle up because it was nippy this morning. It was cold this morning. So you guys stay safe. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow with an all new episode of Style by Stevie. I'm your hostess, Miss Stevie, and you guys be safe and check the replay and head on over and subscribe to Style by Stevie Daytime on YouTube. Brian, it was such a pleasure having you here. Such
Yeah.
an honor
Thank you
for
for
you.
having me. Thank you. Thank you. All love. All love. Let me know when you
Definitely.
want me back. I'm on anytime. I got you. I got you.
Yes, we'll talk because I want you back on in the new year. Definitely.
Absolutely. I'm
All
here.
right.
I'm here. Say less. I got you.
All right, Fashion Dolls, ladies and gentlemen, Brian Keys, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 4. I love you, and y'all be safe. Take care.